Some medical conditions are just baffling. It can take doctors years to even start connecting the dots. Today, we're going to unpack a story just like that. It's part medical mystery, part detective novel, really. We're following a family on their journey to find a single, crucial answer, an answer hidden deep inside their own DNA. So what does connect vision loss, obesity, and developmental delays in 4 siblings? I mean, think about it. How could 4 kids in the same family all be dealing with such a specific, challenging mix of health problems? It's just got to be more than a coincidence, right? And you'd be right. The answer, as we're about to find out, is hidden in a really rare genetic condition. All right, so where does a story like this even begin? Well, the journey to a diagnosis didn't start with the whole family. It actually started with just one patient, one girl, who walked into a clinic with the whole decade of unanswered questions. Okay, so I want you to put yourself in the doctor's shoes for a second. A 15-year-old girl walks into your office. She's got developmental delays, no signs of puberty, but that's just scratching the surface. Her medical history, it's like this incredibly complex puzzle, and none of the pieces seem to fit together at all. I mean, look at this profile. At first glance, these symptoms feel completely unrelated, right? Her vision has been getting worse since she was just 2. She's also dealing with severe obesity, and it's driven by something called hyperphagia, which is just this insatiable, totally overwhelming hunger. Then you throw in the developmental delays and the delayed puberty, and suddenly you're staring at a diagnostic challenge of like the highest order. Honestly, this case could have stayed a mystery forever. But the biggest clue, the real game changer, it wasn't in a lab test. It wasn't in a CT scan. No, the clue was found by looking beyond the patient herself and into her family. And this is the breakthrough moment. The doctor finds out that the 15-year-old isn't the only one. Her 3 younger siblings, 2 little sisters and a brother, they're all going through a strikingly similar pattern of health problems. All of a sudden, this mystery isn't about one person anymore. It's about 4. And when you lay it all out side by side like this, well, the pattern is just impossible to ignore. Look at this. All 4 of them started having vision problems as toddlers. All 4 are dealing with obesity, way up above the 97th percentile. They all have polydactyly, that's extra fingers or toes, and they all share this diagnosis of retinitis pigmentosa, which is what's causing their vision loss. I mean, come on, this can't be a coincidence. It's practically a genetic signature screaming for attention. So with all of this overwhelming evidence, the puzzle pieces just click. They finally fall into place. And this condition, it has a name, Bardet-Biedl syndrome, or BBS for short. Okay, so what is Bardet-Biedl syndrome exactly? Getting the diagnosis is obviously a huge first step, but now we've got to get into the science, the biology behind it all. All right, so at its core, BBS is what's known as a ciliopathy. Now, what does that mean? Well, think of cilia as these tiny little antennas on the surface of our cells. Their whole job is to pick up crucial signals. But in BBS, those antennas are basically faulty. And when the cells in your eyes, your kidneys, your brain, you name it, can't communicate properly, well, that's when you get that huge range of symptoms we just saw in this family. And if you look at the primary features of BBS, it's like reading a summary of the siblings' medical charts. The vision loss from retinal dystrophy, check. The central obesity, check. The extra fingers or toes, what we called post-axial polydactyly, check. It all lines up perfectly. And, this also points to other things doctors have to watch out for, like kidney problems and hormonal development. These are things that are going to need lifelong monitoring. So getting a clinical diagnosis just based on symptoms, that's a massive step forward. But, in modern medicine, we can go even deeper. Doctors can actually pinpoint the exact genetic typo that's causing the whole problem. Let's start with the physical evidence. What you're looking at here are images from inside the siblings' eyes. You can really see the signs of that retinitis pigmentosa we talked about. The changes in pigmentation, the paleness of the optic disc. This is the effect of the disease, right? This is the damage it's doing, but it's not the root cause. So what is? Well, to find that cause, we have to go deeper, way deeper. The final, definitive answer wasn't something you could see in their eyes. No. It was hidden in their DNA, in their genetic code. It's pretty incredible to think that the source of this entire family's struggle was a single, tiny error repeated in trillions and trillions of their cells. And here it is, the smoking gun. Genetic sequencing confirmed it. all 4 siblings carry the exact same mutation in a gene called MKKS. It's a homozygous deletion, which is a technical way of saying they inherited the same faulty copy of this gene from both of their parents. And this very specific error tells us they have a subtype known as BBS type 6. And with that, the medical mystery is officially solved. But, a diagnosis is never the end of the story, is it? It's really the beginning of a whole new chapter. A chapter that's all about management, support, and now, which is so exciting, for the very first time, targeted treatment. So, how do you manage a condition as complex as BBS? Well, it takes a village. You need an entire team of specialists for eye care, for kidney function, for hormones, the whole shebang. It means you've got to be constantly screening for complications, you need specialized support in school, and of course, you need those really crucial lifestyle and dietary interventions to help manage weight. But here's where things get really hopeful. Recently, a powerful new tool was added to that toolbox. There's a drug called setmelanotide, and it's the first therapy ever designed to specifically target the underlying biology of obesity and BBS. For these patients and their families, this is an absolute game changer. Okay, so the big question is, does it work? And how well? Well, in the main clinical trial, more than a third of the patients, about 34.5%, lost over 10% of their body weight in just 1 year. Now, for a condition that's basically defined by relentless, unstoppable weight gain, that is a massive, massive breakthrough. And you know what? It's not just about the numbers on the scale, which is maybe even more important. The drug directly tackles that root problem, the insatiable hunger, the hyperphagia. On average, patients reported a nearly 31% reduction in their hunger scores. Can you just imagine the relief? The feeling of finally quieting that constant, gnawing feeling of starvation? That is a profound, life-altering improvement. Now, it's important to say the medication isn't a silver bullet on its own. The research was really clear on this. The best results happened when the drug was paired with a really strong support program for both the patients and their families. It's just such a critical reminder that managing a chronic disease is always about more than just a prescription. It's about that holistic, all-around care. So this family's journey, it's just an incredible story of progress, right? From this confusing, decade-long mystery to a definitive genetic diagnosis and even a new targeted therapy. It's amazing, but it also makes you stop and think. It forces us to ask a much bigger question. For this one family, we found answers. But what about the millions of others who are still out there, still searching? It really makes you wonder, how can we build a system that speeds up these kinds of discoveries for everyone living with a rare disease?